we've been linked with a lot of players this last week, but I've done my best to keep up with them. Keep an eye on who we're being linked with, who's been linked with a move away from West Ham United, get them all down in my pink book, and I think I've done quite well. There we go, there's all the transfer rumours. I've been quite organised though. I'm organised, I'm looking good, I'm feeling good. I think I'm pretty sorted, but we've been linked with a lot of players, haven't we? A lot of strikers. I've had to write down loads of strikers' names in this book. Take a look at that. Look at it. Anyway, listen, that's all the nonsense over and done with. Welcome to the West Ham Transfer Rumour Show. That intro cost me £2. I had to go to Poundland and get an extra 2 books just for that stupid 30-second intro. So I hope you enjoyed it. A little bit of silliness to kick us off. And that's not the only silliness of the show. Oh no, we've got silliness coming up in the form of transfer rumours, starting with Declan Rice to Liverpool. Let's dismiss that one straight away, but I'll tell you the context of it. Basically, I'm using it for clicks. Just like a random website. I can't even remember. It's one of those Football Insider 90 Minutes or something. One of those things that just make up stuff. Basically, they made up a rumour that Chelsea wanted Declan Rice for 50 million. They were going to get him for 50 million now, because despite Declan Rice getting better, he's actually got about 30 million cheaper because we're skint. So Chelsea are going to get him for 50 million. And then basically The Guardian do like a transfer rumour roundup, a bit like what I'm doing here. So they've then included the Declan Rice bit and included the fact that at the bottom of it, that Liverpool and Man United are also looking at him. And then it's sort of going on social media that Liverpool want Declan Rice. Oh, it's rubbish. It's just complete rubbish. So scrap that. They used it for clicks, and I've done the same. So welcome. Let's talk about the proper stuff though. So Sevilla striker En-Neysri. I've heard of this guy. I can't say I've watched him too much, but he's a name that's sort of, you see it and you think, okay, I know of him. It's a little bit better than Boulaye Dia, who I've never heard of, but I can't speak too much about him. I know a smidgen, because Sevilla is a pretty big club, aren't they? They're in La Liga, they're in Europa League and all that. But West Ham were linked with him for about 20-25 million. Apparently we put in a 20-25 million bid. We got told he was 40 million, so we bid 25 million. We got told he's 40 million. We sort of said, will you take 25 million still? Maybe 25 million plus 5 million. And Johnson said, no, he's 40 million. And then the player basically said, I'm alright in La Liga, actually. I don't really fancy moving to West Ham. So we basically said, oh, well, can't sign him. There's a surprise. I'm a little bit sceptical. I touched on this in Cup of Tea. And in the summer when James Tarkowski came around, Burnley basically said he's 40 million. We bid 30, and then we got told he's 40 million. So we bid 31. He's still 40 million. Oh, what about 32? No, he's 40 million. All right, let's just forget it. It's got a little bit of that about it. It looks like, I just feel like it's West Ham, or one guy at West Ham in particular, trying to show ambition, putting in bids for players he knows are not going to be accepted, make it look like he's trying to back his manager, and turn around to the manager and say, sorry, Mr. Moyes, I tried, we can't get him, he's too expensive, can you please have a cheaper option, or I found you an alternative over here. How about this guy? I'm David Sullivan, I found this one. What do you mean you don't want my player? Anyway, so that's where we're at really. It looks like if he is David Moyes' number one target, I believe he is, because Moyes told us. Well, he didn't really tell us it's him. He got asked about him. He confirmed there's bids in for 3 or 4 players, and he was one of them, and there wasn't anything close at all. So it looks like we're cooling our interest in that player. And then Edouard of Celtic has come up, and I quite like him. I like him. I'm not biased. A lot of people are going to suggest I'm biased being Scottish. Well, you're going to say nice things about Scotland. I'm not really. I'm the first person to say not that many people in Scotland are good enough to play for the Premier League, play in the Premier League. I don't mind admitting that. But to dismiss it entirely, I think is foolish. There's a lot of good players that's come from Scotland down to England. John McGinn is one of the better centre midfielders in the Premier League at the minute. He come from Hibs down to Aston Villa. Kieran Tierney is one of the best left backs in the league at the minute. Arsenal, come from Celtic. Van Dijk at Liverpool, possibly the best centre-back in the league. Okay, he went via Southampton, come from Celtic. So to dismiss the league entirely, I think is a little bit naive. I think Edouard would be a fantastic striker for West Ham. I think he'd be a really good option. He's got it all, he's young. I think he would suit us. He wasn't in the Celtic team last night. We're waiting to find out as to why that is. And things just, it's not a happy ship at Celtic at the moment. There's a lot of pressure on them for their off the field behaviour, if you like, going to Dubai. Neil Lennon's not very popular. They're so far behind Rangers in title race. Title race is practically over in Scotland, so they've not got much to play for anymore. I think it's a good opportunity for a club to go get Edouard or any other Celtic player that you're possibly interested in. And if we are interested in him, I'd like it. It would be a big thumbs up for me signing Edouard. Origi of Liverpool is also come around as well. My opinion on him varies. I used to like him 2-3 years ago. I thought he was a good player. Over the last season or so, I've sort of cooled my desire to see Origi at West Ham. I think he'd be okay. I think there'd be a slight risk to it, and it's not a risk as in can he settle in England or that. It's just a risk as in is he as good as or better than Michail Antonio. You might have seen my rant in a couple of videos. Not rant, my grumblings. I don't like this backup striker philosophy. I hate it. Why are we buying someone to sit on the bench? I want to buy someone that's going to come in and challenge Michail Antonio for that striker position. It's going to try and put Antonio on the bench. They'll have to do a damn good job, but that's what you've got to aim for. There's no point buying someone in. It's almost like it's a loser's mentality or something. But when you ain't got loads of money, I guess that's what you kind of got to settle for. I want to see a bit of ambition here. I want to see him go get a player that can make a right big difference for West Ham United between now and the end of the season. Is Origi that player? Not 100% sure, but I think there's potential there. I think he potentially could be. I wouldn't grumble if he come to West Ham. The only issue we've got, and I said this in the last video, I'm going to say it again because it's coming up more and more. People said, oh, he'd be a good loan option. We can't get him on loan unless we sign Craig Dawson permanently or Ben Lama. You're only allowed 2 domestic loans at any point. We've got 2, so we need to sort one of them before we can think about getting someone else on loan from the Premier League or the Championship or that. So Origi would have to be a permanent purchase. And that would scare me a bit because it would be big money. Liverpool don't sell players cheap. You'd be, I don't know, 20, 25, 30 million. And I think there's better players out there for that sort of money. And then Issa Diop could be leaving West Ham United. Rumours are that he could be off on loan for the remainder of the season. At the minute, he's fallen right down the pecking order in the centre backs. Dawson's ahead of him. Balbuena's ahead of him. Obona's ahead of him. Switching back 3, Creswell's ahead of him. So it's not going too well for Issa Diop. A lot of talk that he could go out on loan in order to try and retain or even improve his valuation should we wish to sell him. But there's also talk since then that that's not going to happen. He will not be going out on loan. Personally, I wouldn't loan him. I'd look to sell him. If someone come in with 20 million, do I think he could go on and become a better centre back? I do. But, you know, Moyes needs to get money and Moyes needs to get players in. And I don't think he sees Diop as part of his plans. So it's 20 million. We don't have that much players worth that much money that are maybe not surplus, but the squad members, if you want to call them that. So the value's there for him. We're being linked to Crystal Palace's James McCarthy. Yes, that James McCarthy. He's out of contract at the end of the season at Selhurst Park. Therefore, he's either free then or he's cheap at the minute. I don't want to see him at West Ham. I really don't. Now, he's okay. He's an average Premier League midfielder, if that. He wouldn't get into our centre midfield. He'd give us squad depth, which is what we're lacking at the minute. However, I still remember what he did to Payet at Goodison Park. And yes, I do still have that sort of stubbornness about me. I don't want to see him at West Ham because of that tackle. Why would you buy a player that's done the dirty on your club? Do we need a player with that type of aggression? Not anymore. A year ago I would have said yes we do. We are a little bit soft. We could do with someone that's in the middle of the park that's willing to put a tackle in, but we don't need that anymore. We've got players that do that. We are a tough team physically, mentally. We are the bully boys of the Premier League some games. We have bullied Burnley a couple of weeks ago, which takes some doing. So I don't want to see James McCarthy at West Ham. Just a horrible player, really. Junior Firpo, the Barcelona left back, will continue to be linked with him. AC Milan are also the other side being linked to him, but apparently he's denied a move. He doesn't want to move there. He's open to a move to the Premier League. However, Barcelona are not too keen on loaning him out. If they do, they want to have the obligation to buy at the end of it for around about 20 million. So it's quite a big price for someone that we're looking to get in as almost like a short-term cover, because Moyes is happy, and rightly so, with Masuaku and Creswell. It's just that one of them's injured for a couple of months. So I don't think we need to spend big on the left back position. I don't see there being much in this unless it was a loan deal. So I'm we'll wait and see, but expecting very little. Giovanni Simeone, yes, Diego Simone's son, Atletico Madrid manager, his son plays over in Italy. We were linked to a loan move with an obligation to buy for him. It's that old thing coming back again, isn't it? We're starting to see a little bit of a pattern here now, aren't we? The loan with an obligation to buy. Yeah, that old one's when we spend no money. Then in the summer, you have to buy Ben Rama and the other player. Then in the summer, you say, well, we've got no money to spend. We've had to pay for them. Well, yeah, but you didn't pay for them last season and you told us, you know what I'm getting at here. But that one's already hit a bit of a stumbling block because he's too important to his team. They don't want to loan him out with an obligation to buy. They want the money now. We don't want to give them the money just now, so that looks like a non-starter, don't it? Josh King. Josh King's back. The rumour's back. Good news for me and some other people that watch the videos. Josh King's also been linked with a move to Burnley. That's good. Please take him. The Sun, I know, reporting that he's 13 million. Who's paying 13 million pounds for a player or a contract somewhere? Nobody's paying that. But Josh King's been linked with a move to West Ham, and I still don't want to see it. As much as we need a striker, we're a little bit desperate. We're stuck with him, aren't we? He wants big wages. Apparently he wants about 100 grand a week or something because of the situation with Bournemouth. He can demand what he wants, really, because he's free at the end of the season. But nah, let's just not do that. I don't like that idea at all. If he come here, he might get a few goals and stuff. But you know something? I think there's better players out there we can get that'll get a few more goals. And then Josh Maja, remember him? And you might remember him from Sunderland. You've seen him play at Sunderland. We were linked with him before when he went to Bordeaux. He went over there. He hasn't scored too many goals this season. I think he's only got 2 goals this season. But we're being linked to him. David Moyes had him at Sunderland as well. Talented youngster when he was there. But anyone that's watched the Sunderland Till I Die documentary, like myself, may have a different opinion on him now, which is bit of a twat. He didn't come across too good in that documentary, did he? Because for those who haven't seen it, it's a bit of a spoiler. If you are going to watch it, I would suggest you pause me or you skip the next 30 seconds. In the documentary, his contract was running out and they were trying to get him to sign a new contract. And it almost like it appeared that every time they agreed something with his agent, they would move the goalpost, they would increase their demands, then they'd sort of agree that, and then they'd change it again. And in the end, come the January transfer window, he only had 6 months of his deal left. They were forced to sell him to Bordeaux. And so he came across as a bit of a bad boy in that one. I say a bad boy, his agent certainly came across as someone that you don't really want to deal with. However, he's a young lad. He was a young lad then too, and I think you've got to take that into consideration sometimes because they can be influenced. They can be influenced by money as well. David Moyes knows him, so if Moyes was to want to bring him to West Ham, Moyes would know what his sort of character is like already and won't be swayed by Sunderland till I die like I was. So I would almost trust the manager to bring him in if we did do that. It's one that I quite like. He's homegrown as well because he obviously got trained in his younger days at Sunderland. He ticks the homegrown box too, so that's a little bit of a bonus. So anyway, basically, I know you're thinking, so what striker are we in for, Gio? Well, the answer is like nobody at the minute. David Moyes has told us he's not going to bring any striker to West Ham. He wants to pick the striker. He only wants someone that wants to be here, but we're not really close to signing anyone at present. The transfer window shuts a week on Monday. Monday the 1st of February is the last day of the January transfer window. So we've got a few days left, 11 days left I think. But 10 days, there's a little bit of pressure on now. The pressure's starting to build a bit because we definitely need a striker. But the latest rumours are that it's looking like it's going to be a loan from someone overseas, obviously, because the loan thing I told you about earlier. Looks like it's going to be a loan from someone overseas, and David Moyes is going to go after his number 1 target in the summer, whoever that may be. So that's where we're at now. Lots can change. It could be different tomorrow morning. I've missed out a few players because A, I can't spell them and I've never heard of them, and B, I forgot because there's so much to keep up with. But anyway, breathe, Gio. You've been speaking non-stop for 12 minutes. Anyway, I'm going to disappear. If you've enjoyed this Transfer Rumour Show, drop a like on it. Subscribe if you're new to the channel. Myself and Gonzo are back tomorrow. We've got the Doncaster game, so we'll be live. It's a 3 o'clock kickoff, so we'll be live at 1:55. We're on the BBC. So anyway, I shall see you tomorrow, hopefully with Gonzo. Look after yourselves. Enjoy your weekend. I'll see you in a bit.